It is proud to be alive. If you can't do that,
it's not something that you can just make up about yourself. You have to be able to show that you are as strong as you say you are. Especially if you're competing in strongman.
Double fisting, health and wellness.
All right, good to go. All right, here we go. Episode 67.
Not bad.
It's not bad, right?
Not bad at all.
67, Strong and Petty podcast here in the Iron Age Gym in the west end of Winnipeg. We've added something to our production here. Oh, Devin's out here. Add something to our production. A giant light that's right in my face here that's really, really bright. So we might have to rethink this next time. But hopefully we look great. Hopefully we look really bright because we're looking a little shadowy lately.
Tyler, I'm not gonna lie, man. We're glistening.
We look like we're like a Chinese barbecue window or something right
I
now.
literally just came from a Korean barbecue place.
Well, there you go.
Probably why I'm sweating.
So we're here. It's been a little while since we both sat down here together and did our thing.
3 weeks, man. For me.
Yeah. So we had Lucas Hatton here. We had little break ski, and then here we are. So lots been going on. Lots been happening. We've been through Vita. We've been through Westerns.
Yeah.
Devin took a little vacation.
Took a
Well-deserved
holiday.
vacation. Yeah, a little holiday, a little week long. Where'd you go?
I ended up going to Longbow Lake.
Longbow Lake. Where's
Fishing there sucks.
that? Okay.
Holy cock! I bought a boat last year, a pontoon boat.
Yeah.
Of course, one of those things I buy, I don't use, but so I'm like, I gotta take it out. So book a holiday with my buddy Doug and his wife. They rented a place out there, and so we rent that and bring my boat out there, get it detailed, get it running. I change a bunch of parts of it and just get it freshened up. Freshened up.
Freshened up.
It's like plastic surgery for the boat.
For sure.
Got it detailed. Well, I got raped on that one.
Really?
Yeah, this detailing company came out. I'm not gonna say the name. It's like they gave me a price. I knew their price was too low. They're like, yeah, $350 plus a travel. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but it's gonna be more than that because the boat's was underneath the tree, like it needs a cleaning.
Right.
So they get out there and they're like, they get to see it and they tell. I wasn't there to tell Dale it's gonna be 12 hours. And I'm like, that seems a little far fetched, but sure. He's like, it's gonna be like $1,500.
Holy fuck.
Holy shit. My Kate, whatever. We need this boat cleaned, right? So they got there 10 o'clock in the morning. They were gone by 1:30. Well, that's only 3.5 hours. Then they came back the next day for 3 hours. We had to give them a deposit thing. Like we had to do this all because it's a mobile company.
Right.
They were like 6 hours.
Oh, really? Oh,
like,
goodness.
Well, okay. Yeah, I got screwed.
They must be hard workers, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow, that's brutal.
I'm like, well, 2 guys, 12 man hours. Let's call it 12 man hours.
Sure.
I guess they're worth about $135 an hour. These detours say they're
I
worth.
guess they must be.
Cock
Hey,
balls, man.
shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
Making that money, making that Devin Penner money.
But yeah. So anyways, I went out there, picked up a tube for the kids. I'd never taken my kids tubing before, so they were excited. I took them tubing on the boat and went and did a bunch of fishing. Caught nothing. Caden's caught a 6-inch pickerel. I got nothing. And then we find a different place because the cool thing is there's a conveyor belt system from Longbow Lake into Lake of the Woods. Okay. You drive your boat on this in the water, it's clear, it just shoots you down into the next lake.
Oh,
my
okay.
pontoon's too big. It's more for fishing boats.
Right.
So we just went over there and walked across, and then we fished there. Cadence drops her hook in the water, bang, nails the second fish.
You're like, this is going to be a great weekend.
Yeah,
Here
I'm
we
like,
go.
oh, yeah. And then Danielle caught like a 14-inch sauger, and that's all we caught the whole week.
That was it, eh?
3 fish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
But
can't win them all, I guess.
Yeah, I was there from Monday to Friday. Well, yeah, because Vita moved to Sunday, so I ended up getting out there Monday afternoon.
that's early then. That's
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I was going to go only get there Monday night at like 10 or 11 and then stay till Thursday. So I got that, and then we came back. I worked on the land a bit. Did some more work on my backhoe, and then went to our cabin.
I saw some videos of that. Looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Vita day change, shout out to all the Manitoba competitors, volunteers, everybody for being so flexible and so easy to work with. Because if anybody doesn't know, we had a last minute change of our Vita competition from being on Canada Day, the Monday, to being the Sunday to save the rain delay that was almost certainly going to happen, or the rain cancellation that was almost certainly going to happen. And it was a beautiful day.
Oh, man,
it was like
gorgeous.
blazing hot.
That's the scariest part is when you get these rain days canceling the way Manitoba weather's been this year, you don't know what it's actually going to do.
No, for sure.
And then I'm like watching. I'm watching all week. Shit, it rained. It went like 40%, 60%, 70%, 100% leading into and like 35 millimeters. I'm like,
did it end up pouring? I didn't really notice.
It poured.
Yeah, it did.
Poured on Monday, which I'm like, okay, good call. But like I contact the fair. I'm like, because if we don't do, me and you were talking, we can run it at my gym. We lose all the money from the fair, so we lose we lose all the money in the comp.
We lose money on.
We lose a lot of money. Yeah. They lose a lot of money because they're wanting us there to bring the crowd in. Now,
right.
So luckily for them, they're like, no, we'll still pay you full amount. They moved a lot of stuff to Sunday.
Yeah.
Didn't get the crowd turnout. I thought we normally
because
of
when you
the
make
switch,
a change like that, it's just
we
it's
were
hard.
head to head with the rodeo, which in small towns rodeo is huge.
Yeah.
We were head to head with the wood carvers. We're head to head. They had wrestling there.
I knew that. Yeah, I didn't know that. I knew some of the guys.
Danny?
Yeah, Danny.
Yeah. So they wrestled after us.
Yeah.
They had a little RC
at the school.
No, just in by the fairgrounds.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, or the grounds. Then they had the RC car race. They had everything going at the same time. So we had a good crowd. Like we still had over 100 people.
It's great.
But so afterwards, I was like, man, I don't know if they're gonna have us back for a fourth year. And she messaged me a couple days after, and she's like, "Hey, are you happy that everything went?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm extremely happy.
Yeah,
like, we were really sorry we had to pivot." She's like, "Oh, we're just thankful you guys still came."
Well, there you go.
And she's like, "Can we book you? Can we already guarantee next year?" I'm like, "Same money, same time. Yep, done."
You heard it here first. 2025, Vita back on. Vitas Strongest 4 coming up next year.
Yeah.
That's just like an awesome small town thing where it's like everyone kind of made it happen. They understand that we're working with the best thing that we can do right now, and there's something about like a small town event fair or whatever like Vita. They like strongman. They like when people come out there and have like a show to put on for people. You know what I mean? So it's that's why people ask like, why we don't do more. Or I don't think people inside strongman ask, but people outside of strongman ask why we never have them in the city or why they're always in these rural towns. Because fuck the city. That's why. Because the city doesn't give a shit, and these small towns.
Prime example: Brick House's show.
Yeah.
And Paul advertised the shit out of it. He does a good job, and he gets 40 people showing up.
Right. It's
in Winnipeg.
Right.
And that's why we don't do the X.
Right.
Because they don't want to give us any money and they don't care.
Right.
These small towns, the Reeve anchors, I wouldn't be a mayor, so the Reeve anchor, the area for Vita, came to my mom after the comp, and it's like, you want to thank your son and thank like Matt So Strong guys for putting these shows on these towns. Like, we appreciate this stuff.
So that's for you guys as much as it is for us.
Yeah.
You guys are the ones putting on the
that's
show
pretty
as well
cool.
too.
Yeah.
So Vita went really, really well. We saw a good number of our guys who didn't qualify for provincials get that last minute qualification, like Jeremy in the open division there, and Anna Fund, who jumped in last second. No training for it or anything. She just wanted to get another competition before Westerns. Her and Ariel are really having a fun back and forth in this, and they're both very competitive in different things, and they're both extremely strong. Yeah. And I don't mean this in any way to. I always hate this because now it's turned into this thing where if we don't say someone's name or if we say somebody not somebody else, then I hear about it later and I'm like, fuck. Everybody is great. Yeah. Okay. I want to make that very clear.
Except for you, Lane.
Except for Lane.
Screw you, you loaf of milk.
No, everybody's great, but right now we just have these two women who are excelling in a way that like they're both the ones who are going to do Westerns. Yeah. Which I'm very excited. I knew Anna was going to do it. She was ready. Like this is one that she wanted to do. And I was really happy to see that Ariel was doing it too. I want to see more of these Manitoba women get out there. And this is a call to Manitoba's strongest woman, Jocelyn. I want to see you there next year because you're very, very capable and you can absolutely do that. Yeah. I know that's it's.
And it sucks because she wasn't able to do Vita.
Right.
She helped me. She reffed.
Right.
Whatever leading in, and then she didn't. She was in school, Tolstoy, because she's in school as well, top of her job. And then it doesn't work. She couldn't get the holiday time for Westerns. Right. And it was either OSG or Westerns.
And that's why I never hold it against somebody when they can't. When they're like a real person with like when there's someone like me where it's like this is my top priority. It's like you better be out there doing those fucking shows. But when you're somebody who has like a real life and she's going to school and she has a job and she has got a family and everything like that all matters very very much.
So she was disappointed because now she can't even do provincials because she didn't qualify.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But she's coming to come help.
And that's all we need is just hands, you know what I mean? And we've had like this year I think we've had more people volunteer, like more different people volunteer than we've ever had with our shows. There we had more new faces in Vita. We had a few people who had to cancel last minute. They just couldn't make the date change. And we had like Jeremy Wien and his family step in and they did an amazing job. And like, you know, when we'll make this into a nice little easy segue into our Jeremy Wien ad here.
Yeah, Wiens.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Like, we're not just blowing smoke when we say that this guy is serious about helping out the strongman community. He came down there and put on a fucking volunteer shirt and stood there in the heat. He's a big guy.
Dude, he was sick till Thursday.
Really?
Oh, he got sunstroke so bad.
Oh, man. And so that's a guy who is putting in the work for Manitoba Strongman and putting his money where his mouth is when it comes to that.
Brought his kids. His kids helped.
His kids helped out. Like this is a guy where if you are looking for any kind of realty, help, advice, consultations, sales, purchases, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
This is really the guy to go to, and I can't stress that enough, because he's just a guy who proves over and over and over again that he's one of us, he's one of our community. He's not some guy who's on the outside trying to be like, hey, all these strongmen, why don't you guys come and whatever, right? He's in the community helping us out. So.
And he reached his weight loss goal.
Congratulations.
He smoked me.
Congratulations there, Jeremy Wiens. That's tremendous.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Wiens Realty.
Hit him up on Instagram, Jeremy Wiens Realty.
Wiens World.
Yeah, Wiens World Realtor.
Yeah.
There was some conflict with that, but yeah, I get it wrong. I asked him. I was with him again Monday night, Wednesday. I'm like, which one can't I say? And he told me, and I forget which one it was.
We've already forgotten. One of these days we'll write it down.
Sue me, Jeremy. I don't know.
Yeah, but we appreciate him to no end, and we just got to get that out there, because it really, when we said we were short guys last minute, and you were like, no, Jeremy's going to step in with his sons, and I was just like, that's amazing. That's just that rules.
And they're in for. They said they would come out for Provincials. Hey, if you need help, we're in again. They loved it.
Tremendous.
They loved the environment, the crowd, the competitors.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I was even talking to Julian after the show, and he's like, that's what he loves coming to Manitoba. He's like, in Ontario, they don't have these little fairs.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, the Senta community in southern Manitoba.
Yeah.
Like with all these little fairs, like I wish we had that in other places.
Here. Yeah. It's
it
nice.
is. Yeah.
So we on the same. It's hot in here, eh?
It's all good. Yeah. I'm also. I Korean barbecue, man, and it's just take
your shirt off.
How are you not dying?
This is a complete poker face. I'm very, very hot, and I'm very uncomfortable right now.
I think this light's reflecting on me though.
When I was here with Lucas, it's got to be off my forehead onto
Yeah.
you. When I was here with Lucas last time, man, he was like, he's 50 pounds heavier than me almost. And I was sitting here just like, whoa, like dying, and he just seemed fine. Like he wasn't that affected
also from the States.
True, he's
a little hotter down there.
A little warmer over there, and he's a little better of an athlete than me, so maybe the weight doesn't factor in as much. Speaking of Lucas Hatton, surprise appearance at Western Canada's Strongest Men.
Yeah, who the hell just
him
and his coach.
Alex.
From what I've seen on the live stream, just rolled up and then threw out some money for the deadlift prize.
Yeah, so let's get a little bit into Westerns here, which was
we'll hit both recaps today. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, just a tremendous. Let's touch more on Vita if you
let's do Vita, and then we'll roll into there.
Sure.
Highlights of Vita, man. The front hold, what a great event. Like, it's fun to see different things, but what a crowd killer. Holy God. I can't believe I've never put a front hold in, and then we did it last, and I'm just like, I'm bored of reffing.
This is the thing, is that we're learning at the same time that some of these things at the same time that you guys are learning about Strongman too, is that when we do a mystery event, it doesn't have to be the last event.
No, no, it's never.
It doesn't have to be.
I did that. I was really bored of reffing. I'm like, this sucks. I'm looking at the crowd, and I'm just like, I'm trying to get the crowd to hype people up. Like,
come on, guys, let's hear it.
Squeeze
for
it a little bit harder.
That's awesome. Yes,
but wow, did that event screw some people?
It's one of those ones that I really hate when they make it like a tiebreaker event, because it's a very simple event, right? So they'll throw that in there, or like a farmer's hold or whatever, because it's a very simple, just static, whatever. But it's such a specific thing that you have to be good at, or be like good leverages for and stuff, that it's really a ridiculous event.
And we had a couple lifters who it's not physically possible to keep their back, and their head against.
Right.
Because of just some accidents and stuff, like
previous,
like non-related strength accidents.
Sure, yeah. Just
so
life,
Jocelyn was helping with that, and she's like, I'm like, no, I understand. I was looking along the trailer. I'm like, I can see. Oh, wait, this person can't. Right. So good thing Jocelyn did a good. Well, she reffed it a lot more flat. She made her competitors so she reffed all the women, and I had all the men. So it was consistent for the weight class, but she had everybody like almost parallel, and I let them do a bit of a slight incline, but I kept it the same level. I did a degree thing, so I kept it fair. But I'm like, cause I've never reffed one of them, right? So it's kind of, but it went well. Like, people held longer than I thought they would.
Well, we start my timer here. We did that at Westerns too, and it ended up like, well, I'll get a little more into that again later, but it ended up being a really big deciding factor for the competition, and not necessarily in a way that, like, I don't know. It's like you have to be good at everything, right? You have to be well-rounded. You have to be well-rounded. But it's one of those ones where it's like you can pretty clearly look at like arm length to body torso thickness. Like there's a pretty clear, like, you do better as you have those better leverages. You know what I mean? And like, you can be really, really fucking strong, and you can have really, really strong shoulders and everything. But if you got big, long, gangly arms, it's just not going to be a good one for you.
Like Ariel did phenomenal in it.
Yeah.
Ariel's got short limbs.
Right.
She's
big torso,
strong, big torso. She just. Yeah,
she's made for an event like that, and say like Dan too. Dan did pretty well in it too, and there's guys who are just like put together for that event,
Yeah.
and there's guys who just aren't, and it ended up being a big deciding factor for a lot of events. But we had so I think I liked the idea of the mystery event as like a change of pace this year.
So I do.
I don't know if I don't know if we need to do it every show next year. Maybe we do it like we do one at provincials.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to kind of mess with people a little bit or whatever. But one thing that I do want to stick with that we did is the different events for every competition. I really think that was something that we
did really well with that this year.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that.
And we didn't even hit all the events either.
No,
There's
and that's the
still
thing is
others
we could do a whole new list practically next year.
Yeah.
So I want to stick with that. I want to see.
And as we expand gear, like it used to be when it was just me, I put all the money in personally, gave all the money away, yada yada, and I was just at a loss.
Right.
Costing me $10,000 a year to put shows on.
Yeah.
Then we started the Manitoba Strong. We get these buy-ins from the fairs, and it's going to repairing equipment. Our axles are shot.
Yeah.
After nationals, they're both
of our axles were destroyed.
Like old hookers, man. And we're able to now buy more sandbags and apparatuses. We never had sandbags for apparatuses. We didn't have the double Vikings.
Right.
Well, I had the double Vikings for it, but we had
but that's a weird one that most people don't.
Yes,
Like, that's
and
just
we
like
have
a
three of
weird.
them now.
That's just a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So it's exciting because this money, me and you don't take a dime for profit. But there is money in the account that we are upgrading new equipment, building new equipment, building the live stream, building the website.
So that's what you can look forward to is last year we put a lot of the money that we got into Strong Manitoba into the streaming stuff that you're seeing used right now, and the stuff that you see Michael Thrones use so adeptly every competition. Who did a great job on Vita again too. Him and Becca just crushed it. Like for anybody who doesn't know, Becca Hyde does the camera work this so far this season, and it makes it so much more watchable. It's just like so. It's so much more just like easy to take in when she moves the camera and she zooms in on stuff and she's like focusing. It's just like it's great.
She's doing a banger, and these are all volunteers.
These are all volunteers, and they do such a great job. And Thrones just continually adds to that stream every time. So, but that was something that we invested our money in last time.
Yeah.
This time we're thinking a little more about like expanding our online presence a little bit, getting a website, maybe getting like an online store with some Strong Manitoba stuff, with some like stock up on some merch, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And but these are things that we want to have.
Streamlining the process now of
like registration.
Because right now it's someone messages you, someone messages me, and I'm not gonna lie, I get a lot, so I don't respond all the time. You don't respond all the time.
Thrones pointed out that we have the worst registration method in Manitoba, maybe Canadian Strong Sports.
Probably the world. I'm gonna say Sri Lanka's got us beat.
If they're when you go to those like those Pakistani, like they're lifting the stones with the handles and stuff,
Yeah.
they have a better registration
They're
system than we
guaranteed
do.
more efficient than we are. So Thrones is probably pissed because that guy's a wizard with that shit.
Yeah, so he made us this registration form that you've seen used at provincials.
Yeah,
and that's going to be the new norm going forward with the with all the stuff. And I'm just really looking forward to streamlining things, making things a little more professional. And we're also going to be looking at like training and certifying referees.
Yes.
That we're already very careful about who we put in referee spots.
Yeah.
We don't just grab somebody who's been doing it for a while. We don't just grab somebody who trains at one of our gyms, and we don't just grab somebody who, whatever. We get people that we know have the qualifications, who have the eye for this, and who have the experience with it too. Which is really important. We get Dan, we get Gord, we get Jocelyn. We had Deloli planned, but he couldn't make it. But these are all people that we pick very carefully. So what we want to do is we want to have that there's just like one flat set of rules that everyone knows that they're following. Yep. Like obviously everyone knows the rules, but we always want to make sure that everybody's on the exact same page. There can be no discrepancies. There can be no.
But what we're working on between me and you and Thrones is a list.
Yes.
Viking Press. These are the criterias. Sleeves. This criteria. Everything will be on that website. Every event that we could possibly host, 30, 40 different events, we'll have a criteria on the website predetermined of what the equipment allows. That's our goal. Get this streamlined.
Right.
And that would be phenomenal. And our reffing, there's guys in the sport who are great at lifting, but they wouldn't be able to coach somebody.
Right.
Because for one, they don't have the passion for it, and they don't have the eye for it.
Right.
And there's people like Dan and Joss and Gord and me and you who I'm very, very technical. So those are guys that we've been able to bring in reffing. And I sit down with Gord before, Jocelyn before Dan. These are the criteria I'm reffing at. And we haven't had an issue. Not even a missed call.
No. Nope.
So
I'm very happy with the people that we have, and we're looking just to even tighten that even further moving forward. Yeah. We're adding more things too, like I'll mention this now here too for provincials. Shelby, who is been brought into the scene because she trains with Andrew Langelar. Yeah. She's a very talented photographer who's going to be doing photo packages. Much like say Keelan Power on the Prairie does with the stuff out west. Shelby does great photos from what I've seen, and I'm really excited to see what she comes up with for the thing. That's every dollar that you guys pay for that goes to her.
Yeah, we don't
take anything off of that. That's not we're not some powerlifting federation where that's something that we might do. I'll talk about that later. we don't. It's just like we get the photos afterwards for promo and stuff, and that's what we need. But we have these things where it's like we want to make sure that we have as many things that we can offer the athletes to make sure that this is like a fun, efficient thing.
And I wish we had that back in the day because all my comps I have no pictures of, and I'm seeing all these like cool editing shots and the shadowing, and I'm just like,
you had a digital camera, like a fucking Sony digital camera,
freaking the flip Motorola Razr.
Yes, an old cell phone camera.
I'm seeing these pictures for $55. I think you're charging $55.
I think it's $55. Yeah,
and I'm like, man,
for 20 photos.
I know some people in our sport, 55 is still a lot of money, especially with the current.
Money's money, and I'll never say if someone's like, I just can't afford it, I will never try to talk somebody out of that.
But if you can't afford, man, I wish being a guy who's been in the sport since 2010. I've done multiple comps. And my memory is bad.
Right.
And I find something on Facebook, someone posted, and I get a memory tape. So I'm like, oh, and I quickly save the photo because that's all I have.
We have such a short window to do this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like for some people, like a handful of competitions is what they end up doing in their whole career. Don't you, like just to have something to remember that by.
Yeah.
And not only that, but to have somebody who's like an actual photographer who edits them and makes them look cool, makes you look maybe a little more jacked than you actually are in real life. You know, but just really captures a moment that a person on the sidelines can't capture.
Speaking of like years past, have you ever heard a guy by the name of Ed Brost? Because you're big in old strawmen.
I don't think so, actually.
He's a Manitoba guy.
Oh, okay.
Was a reserve for Worlds at some point.
Oh,
he's got a world shirt.
That's interesting.
So my daughter also is hanging out with her friend. She's like, oh, this is, I'm not going to say the name. And her dad said he used to strongman. I'm like, oh, what's his name? It says a name. Like, never heard of him, but I'm going to do some research on him.
Yeah.
Dude had like a 750 squat, 5-something bench and powerlifting, and like a 700 or 800 pound bench, and went and did high-level strawman.
Strong guy. Wow.
And I've never heard of him.
I've never heard of him before in my life.
Lives close to me, and I'm like, so I'm going to have to sit down with this guy.
We're going to have to look into that,
yeah,
absolutely.
So that's kind of cool.
We're going to have to look into that.
If anybody, like, because I know Brad Provic listens to us.
Yeah, if that's somebody that you're aware of, Brad,
have you
please.
Ever heard of a guy, Ed Brost?
Drop in the comments. Let us know.
See if you know. Or shoot me a message. That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah.
So getting off of the more local stuff here, we'll wrap that up by saying thank you to all the competitors and volunteers who came out to Vita and just made it the great competition that it always is. You guys always crush
show.
It. I was watching the stream from BC. I watched it from front to back and watched everyone do it. And
I kept getting messages, blow your damn whistle.
And it was very, very entertaining to watch. I really enjoyed it.
And hardly any torn hands.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, so I was actually going to resand all my farmers right down to bare meadow and repaint. I'm like, man, like, I don't know if it was, but I seen 1 or 2 tears and that was it.
If you don't slip your grip, your hand won't rip. That's
exactly.
As that. But I wish I could take my own advice when it comes to that. So as I said, I was watching it from BC, where I was in my comfortable cabin in Shawnigan Lake, which is just outside of Victoria and just outside of Duncan, where Westerns was being held. What an amazing show it was. And I know that you're watching the stream, and they didn't have the stream that you want to see at like a competition of that level. They explained that it was just a budget issue, which is like, hey, I get it. You know what I mean? That happens. Hopefully we can get that figured out for next year. I know that we have somebody right here in Manitoba who'd be happy to do something like that for very, very cheap. I know next year there's talks of it being in a more central province where maybe like a Power Hippo takes it over or something like that. Like he's a very talented guy.
I would like to see it here.
I'd like to see it here too. And I discussions may have been had. So we'll announce that when
I think me and you could put on a hell of a show.
Yeah. I had a little discussion with JF about some stuff, and we'll talk more about that at a later date. But the competition was like you couldn't have asked for a more, like, this is the most BC place we were staying. It was just beautiful. It was just forests and trees, and like we were staying in this cabin that was like had a hot tub on the deck, and it was just this huge woods area behind it. So you're just sitting out there looking out over this area. It was we went out. Me and Jan like never do any kind of vacation. It's always like we get show up the day before the competition, leave the day after,
and
maybe even the day of, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the holiday, yeah, exactly. So we went a few days earlier. We ended up spending almost a week gone, and we stayed at Shawnigan Lake, which is what's called, which is like kind of like a lake of the woods, but I would say maybe a little more hoity-toity.
Yeah.
But it was amazing, and it was just like it was so beautiful. We had a really nice time there, and competition day was in Duncan, which is like a smaller kind of city, and like maybe like a Brandon size, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like really, really just amazing place, you know, mountains all around you and shit. And it was like perfect BC weather. I think it was probably like between 20 and 25 degrees, sunny. It was really nice.
It wasn't too bad.
No, it was okay. It was okay. It was all very manageable, and the competition itself was awesome. I kind of kept my thoughts to myself for a lot of like the specific order of the podium and stuff. But I did have a message that I sent to Sean Hayes about a couple weeks before the competition, where I was like, I know that you're going to win Westerns.
Didn't I? And correct me wrong, but I'm pretty positive I said it would be Sean.
I could believe that.
James and Colton.
I could believe that. Yeah.
I figured those would be the three, and then there could have been some guys that upset it.
Yep. I just looking at the events, I liked them for Sean. There's always the benefit of training of competing with the equipment that you train on. He had that benefit. And there was a couple of events in there that like Sean and Jeffers were going to do well in almost all the events.
Yeah.
And then there was just that the front hold that I was like, that could be enough of a points loser for Jeffers that it could sewer him. And that's kind of what happened.
And once Colton get his deadlift, and he's working at it.
Yeah.
Once his deadlift comes up, difference.
Yeah,
you'll have a better chance.
And no disrespect to Colton because he's obviously very, very talented.
Very.
But I didn't pick him to win. There was just too many points losses there. Like if I'm just looking at it by the numbers,
like, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not a great deadlift, but it's kind of like Max Pujol's Achilles heel was always that deadlift.
As an outside observer.
Yeah.
I knew that he was going to lose some points on the deadlift. I knew that there was something else.
I knew he'd do well in the press.
Well, the Dinnies weren't going to be his friend compared to some of the other guys who were going to be in that top tier. Like, he did better than me, but I'm not the guy he's competing against. You know
Dinnies?
what I mean? Sean. No, Lars.
Yeah, I wasn't predicting that one.
And so he was a guy where
he did awesome.
Yes, and Lars was a guy where if you looked at the events for him, you're like, this could be a podium finisher.
It could be an upset.
He's a great log presser. He's very good at yoke. The Dinnies are like his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like really, really good at them. The front hold he's good at. His deadlift is not quite there yet, but he was a guy where it's like, this could be a really good show for him. And sure enough, because Sean is declining his pass to CSM, it all bumps one down, and now fourth place, Larson, making his debut at CSM this year.
Who was fifth?
Stein Risling.
So I had him in my head. I'm like, if he could possibly upset the podium just because of his skill level.
Yes.
I was thinking that would be if possibly, but yeah.
And he had a good day. He pulled a PR deadlift.
Yeah.
He told me that in training he'd only hit like up to 585. Then he ended up hitting like 750 that day or something. Like, it's just like he's just and that just goes to show like a competitor's mentality that he has. Obviously,
PR deadlift. I didn't have you that high up. I knew. I in my head, I'm like, Tyler's gonna pull it in here. That 828. Those weird jumps he was doing. The jumps didn't make sense.
Because it was kilos.
Yeah, I'm like, what kind of stupid? Because he had like a. Everything has to be so equal in my head, and he had a 50-pound jump and like 30. And I'm like, this is already pissing me off. Like, judging JF on his jumps. Like, what are you doing?
Well, it was like so we started off with the log. Excuse me, we didn't start off with the log. We started off with the yoke. I think I was like the second or third round to go on that one, and I was warming up for yoke. And the last warm up, I just walked out and I was like, I just fucked up my back. I just my right erector just felt like it was just some. It felt like someone was grabbing it.
Yeah.
I was like, shit. And then it's funny because afterwards, somebody came up to me afterwards, was like, "Do you hurt your back?" In the very beginning, and like, because I was trying to be like, "Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine." Because somebody asked me right there, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm fine." And then at the very end, I was like, "Yeah, I did." They're like, "Oh, I could see right away as soon as you walked away, you were just like upright and walking all weird and stuff."
Suddenly proud to be there.
Yeah, and then luckily for me, they had a physio there who was very, very good. Like, he would hit me between every event and
I
made
heard that guy was working his ass off.
He definitely was.
She?
He Bobby. Bobby. Yeah, he did an amazing job. And he made it a virtual just non-factor for me. Like, I didn't notice it. Like, I would feel it in between events, but when I was going after he worked on it, didn't notice it at all, and didn't like pull the big deadlift, didn't feel it at all.
Yeah.
So thank you to Bobby for that. But we did the yoke. I had like an okay time on it. I thought didn't have any drops, but guys were just like Jeffers just fucking sprinted with the thing.
Some guys were running with.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like it's funny when you get to that level where like an okay 900 yoke or sorry like I think I got 21 seconds in 80 feet 900. That's just okay. Like that's just okay.
Not your middle of pack.
I think that was fifth or sixth or something.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy shit. And then we followed that one up with log. It didn't go the way that I wanted it to, honestly, where it was I got Dan beat me again on log this year. He always gets one more than me. But good on him for having a nice PR log session on that one too. But I'd hit 4 in training. I really wanted 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I hit 3 in 30 seconds, which was like a much faster
Yeah.
pace than I normally hit in training, and then I just could not. Something happened on that fourth one.
It got away from you a bit. If I remember correct, I was watching after
Yeah.
you missed it, I'm like, you shouldn't have missed that.
No.
That rep was yours to have.
Yeah,
I don't know if I got forward on you or whatever happened, but I was like, gosh. Yeah.
And I'm not making this as an excuse because other guys figured it out and smashed it.
Yeah.
The log was a little strange. I'm not going to say that it was like good or bad. It was just different. The handles were a little narrower. They were shallower in the log, so the clean was feeling a little different. And it was funny because Lucas Hatton's on the sidelines yelling at me. He's like, "Your clean is too late," or like, "You clean faster, whatever." Yeah. And I was like, "Okay, you're right." And so then I got the last one, and if I'd done that on the earlier one, it might have helped me. But it was just a little bit of a strange log. But at the same time, like I said, other guys got it. I think like 6 or 7 was the winning thing.
Which
is
in
amazing.
60 seconds of clean and press.
That's the time.
It
That's
8 seconds per rep.
Yeah, that's remarkable. So congrats to Dan on a good one for that one. I know that Langelaar hit 2 on that one, which I believe is a PR for him on that one too. So that's great.
Yep.
He did great on the yoke too. He's going to be a really good yoke runner.
Yeah.
When he had 1 drop.
Yeah.
And I think that he might have even still beaten me with 1 drop.
And he dropped because he's still running like Bambi.
Yeah, he's still a little bit green with it.
Yeah, you could tell the left to right stability. His feet are wobbling, and he just keeps going. Looking like a drunk out there.
Yeah, he did great with it though, and he's going to be very good when he practices that one a little bit more. We followed that one up with the Dinny rings. I mean, I got a PR for that. Like that's a 40 feet is a new PR for me on that one. I was only getting about 20 to 25 in training.
Murdered some guys.
Yeah, some guys like Dan. It didn't work out. Didn't work out very well for him. I think that he maybe. Just didn't have his hands on them enough beforehand, but it's like he's in this awkward phase where he's starting with a new coach and like they're trying to figure things out about each other at the same time that they're training for this specific competition. Yep. So it's hard to do both those things at the same time. You know what I mean? But I know for him it wasn't the grip that was the issue. We both were hook grip. I think he hook gripped it. We both hook gripped it. But it just gets in front of your leg, and that's what happened to him. He got in front of his leg, and he's like, well, "Where are you going to go now?" Right?
And
It
just
goes down. Yeah. So
a couple guys dropped on their feet.
Couple guys had some, it was a couple gnarly ones on there. Sean had a nice little duck and roll when he fell on, but got through it. And there was a few guys who just smoked it, like Jeffers, Sean, Lars, Langelaar did very well on it too. Yep. These are all guys who just did really, really good on it. Colton did really well on it. And it is funny because it's like I'm not gonna lie to you. They ended up taking out the 12 top guys get through to the finals. Yeah, and I was nervous because I was like, man, if I bomb the Dinny rings, that could be my day right there. Yep. If I have a really bad
because
run,
you don't have those small guys that you can just blast behind to gain some points.
Well, that's the thing is that like if we the example that I gave people when we were there was that like we were training with you, and you took the comp run for like 40 feet, and you'd never done it before. And I don't mean this to be insulting to you, but it's like I think that a 550 deadlift would be challenging for you right now. Like you know what I mean? Because it's 550 in the hands. Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like if you can kind of just get it. Yeah, it works, and there were guys there who didn't do particularly well in other stuff, but did good in that one because it's just such a specific.
And I had
event.
never picked those rings up till that day with Dan.
Right.
And the only reason I picked him up because I seen Dan was struggling, and I'm like, well, I'm going to help him. Yeah. If I can pick these up and just be done with them and help him, give him some motivation, sure. And then end up running the whole length of the turf with the 10% less weight, then I'm like, holy shit, like this could be an event I could do well.
For some people, it just clicks. Yeah. And that's where I was kind of like, shit. And then, luckily, all 3 of the Manitoba guys would have made it through to the finals. As it turned out anyway, so that's positive. Good. But then following that we had the yoke Zurcher, the Zurcher sandbag one, which I knew was going to be a good one for me. When I was walking to the line, JF was just like he's walking there with me to get to the start line, and he's just like everyone's going too slow, and I was like okay. He's like just don't stop, just keep moving, and I was like okay. And that's just what I did. Like what you did was you carried the Zurcher 80 feet. Yeah, I watched. Yeah, and then you load the sandbag over.
Jeffers that sneaky little bastard.
You know bastard.
I love that. I was watching you guys do it, and he came in and did something like that guy. He was smart. Yeah. He threw that yoke past that bag and immediately loaded it, and that was it. Because there wasn't enough time to get another rep.
There wasn't enough time.
Unless he did that. Yeah. Which I was like, smart.
Yep. So for anybody who didn't see it, what it was that you carried a Zurcher across the line, and then right next to that line, kind of off to the left of the yoke, was a sandbag that you then had to load and load as many times as you could in the remainder of the minute. So what Jeffers did was that he was technically still past the line, but he went way past the line and carried the Zurcher until the sandbag was now in between the thing on the other side of the yoke of where everyone else started, and then he started loading it from there. And it was very, very intelligent. And
so he got his first rep before the first guy was able to get around and pick the bag
For
up,
sure.
like in that time sequence.
Yep. And I watched it. He told me after I went that he was going to do it. And I watched him do it, and I was like, man, if I was going right now after you, still wouldn't try it. It was just like it had to be so perfect. And I was like, nope, I wouldn't even try it after having watched you done it. But that was a cool move, and it really shows that like people like to give say like Jeffers or Sean or whoever a hard time because they're very specific and they want details and they want to know what's going on and they want to have a plan and shit like that's why though because they're fucking good and they're smart and they it's people make the mistake of thinking that like the same thing with powerlifting. It's not who's the strongest, it's who can squat, bench, and deadlift the most weight. And when it's strongman, it's not necessarily who's the strongest, it's who's the best strongman, who can do the events the most efficiently and the best, right? So it's like obviously strength factors in, but if you can be smarter than the next guy too, that helps. We had the front hold, which was again not great for everybody. So it was supposed to be 50 pounds, but what they did was they put 50 pounds onto a loading pin with a handle,
which was now 60 pounds.
So 63 pounds.
Because that's the same thing. I luckily weighed the loading pin. So I'm like, I was just gonna add the weight. And I was like, holy crap, these things are like 12 pounds, man.
So I walked out there and I was like, what's the best time so far? And someone said 31. I was like, 31? What the fuck? And I was like, I've been doing like 40 plus in training pretty consistently. And then I picked it up and I was like, oh. And I was also training with like a tricep press down bar, which is like shoulder width kind of. This thing was like right here. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. So
rest your biceps on your titties. And
yeah.
yeah.
I don't remember what I ended up getting, but it wasn't super great, but it was kind of whatever. But then
Jeffers proved he couldn't hold my nuts.
Jeffers couldn't hold shit. Couldn't hold shit in that event.
I'm just kidding, Jeffers. That's probably a sore spot.
He might even beat me. I don't even know on that one, honestly, but I don't think so. Yeah. But there's just some events that guys just don't click for guys.
I felt so bad for him because he's a well-rounded guy.
I didn't feel the fucking bit bad for him.
I know you guys don't, but I was sitting there watching. Great. I'm like, oh man, like I knew that.
I was standing on the sidelines just silently watching.
Chuckling.
No, I was just watching. But everybody else, all the other competitors were like hissing and booing and spitting at him. And
come on.
No. I was respectful, and they were all laughing, Jeffers, laughing at you.
Pulling out the old pens and spitballs and shooting them at him.
But and then we went into the last event of the day, the best event of the day, the max deadlift on the elephant bar. I mean, like, how, for the guys who had good days on that one, like, how can you beat having a good day on a deadlift with JF sitting right in front of you, fucking reffing? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's one thing to compete in front of JF. Yeah. That's already a special enough thing for a lot of people. But to go there and be like, I'm gonna have a big fucking deadlift in front of JF Karan, like that's fucking sweet. So the weight ended up getting, I think Jeffers won with like 850, I think, and he had more in there. So it was his deadlift is getting pretty remarkable. But me and Saint Amand.
Yes.
Cam Saint Amand, both, who just was like a monster deadlifter. He's got powerlifting background. Yeah. Awesome, just an awesome lifter. Both of us got 820.
828, right?
I think it was 823.
823?
I think. His was more convincing than mine, but neither of us got the next one, so it didn't matter.
Man, it doesn't matter how convincing. I come from a background of an orgasm's an orgasm.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And it was an awesome. It was really, really fun, and the crowd was it's the end of a hot day, but that's a great way to end the show is just with a max deadlift like that to get the crowd. Like, how often do you do a max deadlift at the end of a 6-event show?
Well, and then Lucas and his coach are throwing out money.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. So one of the sponsors was like said that they'll give $20 to any competitor who gets over 800 on the deadlift.
Oh, you should have seen the live chat.
Oh, really?
People were mad on the chat. Because the announcer kept he just drilled this thing till $20 is $20 and $20, and he must have said it like 40 times, and people are just blowing up the chat like the joke's dead. You're a retard. Like, tell that announcer shut up already. Like, I'm like just reading the chat, and I'm like, woo, this is vicious.
Vicious chat there.
$20 is $20.
I like the MC.
Clearly, those guys never got their $20. Yeah.
But it started with that. So a few of us, I think maybe 5 of us, let's say, got $20 from the sponsor, which was like a nice little incentive. You know what I mean? It's like to repeat something, $20 is just $20, but it's like a nice thing to be like, hey, look, we all earned this.
Pays for the first 2 beers.
There you go, right? Yeah. And then somebody else said that they were going to put $100 on whoever. I think JF. So he's going to put $100 on whoever wins.
Yeah.
And then Alec Jose and Lucas Hatton, they said they're gonna put $100 on top of that too.
Yeah.
And then just like one of the volunteers was like, I'm gonna put $100 on that too. And it ended up being $500.
Yeah.
So Jeffers got a nice little bonus on his win or his second place victory, with an extra $500 from people in the crowd.
Yeah.
And also shout out Lucas Hatton too for and Alec Jose, his coach, who's obviously a very intelligent guy. Just like shouting help and coaching and stuff the whole time through the competition, helping guys out, especially the newer guys who were this is like their first kind of bigger show, maybe like that.
I don't know Alec from the whole. I know of him. I know like a bit of. Was he a competitor?
I think he has an Olympic lifting background.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not a tall dude.
He's not a very big guy.
He's
No.
not a big dude.
No.
I wasn't sure whether he competed maybe in like a weight class strongman back in the day.
That's very
to get his
possible, too.
knowledge,
Yeah,
or like
that's very
he seems like a very smart dude.
He is very intelligent, and he was super friendly. They were really, really nice. They were just really like cool guys to have around.
His hair resembles my beard on a humid day.
It kind of does, yeah, it does actually. But it was just awesome, and it was the whole competition was really fun, and it's just like it's one of those rare times where you get to kind of hang out with all the guys from out west, where you get to see everybody, and we all got together beforehand and shot these like little videos and stuff that Keelan and Power on the Prairies put together that were just awesome. And Westerns, it's just like it's one of the more fun shows that we do in the year, that I do at least, and I love it because it's just hanging out with the boys, lifting some weights.
Well, and it's we got time, so Westerns because Easterns happen too.
This just congrats to the Rayum twins, Fred in first, Gabe in second. Yeah, they're twins. Yeah.
Yeah, I kept seeing like they're not identical twins, clearly.
They are identical, but one's a little taller than the other.
No,
they look the exact same in the face and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know they were twins. I just thought I knew they were brothers.
No.
That was pretty cool. But damn it, I couldn't find a thing on that comp. Trying to follow it online, trying to follow a score sheet, trying to follow. I just one of Jeff's comps or Max put that one on. Or
Jeff.
And damn it, I know. And Jeff is an amazing guy. He's done it. But man, I wish for just at home guys who can't go to show like that and are following the sport more and more and more. Man, I wish they had just something for a score sheet that you could follow.
Yeah, I know. It's just we're in this kind of like growing pains thing where more people care.
Yeah.
And so now we have to meet the demands of those people.
With more care comes more criticism.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's valid too.
Yeah.
But yeah, shouts out to our Westerns winners. Sean Hayes.
Yep.
Told you. James Jeffers and Colton Sloan. Honorable mention to Larson Hare, who's getting his first CSM shot. And then the Eastern winners, which is Fred Rayum, Gabe Rayum, and Joey Lavalley. Awesome podium there of three super fucking strong guys. It's exciting to think that maybe like Fred is on his way to getting his time in the sun, like when Gabe was at WSM and stuff.
Is that family to that Lance Lavalley?
I don't think there's a relation there. I don't think so. But it's a cool time in the Eastern stuff too, where these guys are putting up big crazy numbers there. Yeah. Like that competition was fucking tough, dude. Yeah. So shouts out to all those guys.
Well, it's cool because if you grab the West Eastern guys, it would juggle those things around.
Yeah.
The West is finally at a point. I mean, when Brad and Scott were there, they were the guys that could contest that.
Right.
But below them, there was always a bit of a gap there.
Right. Yeah.
Now it's not that way.
No, it's this CSM is going to be really exciting because I think there's a very good chance I don't think it's crazy to say that we're only maybe this year, next year, the year after from seeing a Western Canada's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
I think that Jeffers can make a very real bid for it, if not this year, in the coming years. I think Tristan is ready this year to be Canada's Strongest Man. Someone's knocking at the door. They're going to have to wait. And there's a lot of guys who are waiting.
Yeah, they're growing and getting stronger.
They're on the next level.
Yeah.
So we'll take a quick break here. I'm going to run out to the door if you want to do the.
Well, yeah, we got because we're talking about recovery with the guy at Physio. We actually got a new sponsor in the show, and it's a device, a Class 2 medical device called the Beamer, BEMER. Crystal Penner is a dealer in Manitoba. I actually have this machine. So I bought this machine, I'm going to say 6-8 months ago. My cousin had gotten into a bad car accident and was really injured. Physio, massage, chiro, doing everything she could. She was all through, not MPI because she's in BC, and couldn't get out of bed. Like it was wrecking her life. And her friend said, why don't you try my Beamer out? And I've talked about the machine a bit, and I was like, well, why would I try your BMW? Like, what sense does this make?
Just try cruising in my Beamer.
Yeah. And it's like, no, it's this machine. Like, why don't you try it out? It's a pad. It deals with microfrequency. And she tried it, and within a couple days, she was able to sit up for 30 minutes at a time. And I'm like, because I've been dealing with my back injury for a while, and my tendon or my elbows and my wrists, and I've got some inflammation problems. I'm trying to figure out with the doctors, and so I'm like, you know what, I'm willing to try. And my daughter has arthritis, and we're trying some things with her because I don't like the drugs and the meds that the doctors are making us do. So I bought this machine, and Shorty actually, Crystal, one of our volunteers who Bosco's mom, actually, because she's the one who sells this. Yep. She's the one with this machine. She brought it to the comp in Tolstoy. And Emma had hurt her shoulder during an event, and hurt her shoulder, and Shorty wrapped this machine on it. It's a pad system. There's a couple different attachments: blue light therapy, red light therapy. Turned this thing on. It was a 16-minute protocol, I think it was. Her shoulder heated up, and the pain was gone, and she was able to compete the rest of the day. And it was pretty crazy. So I've been, I wrote down a couple notes about it. So purpose is, I'd like you guys to look this up. She's going to be with us next month to sponsoring the show, help get the name of this thing. It's for improving muscle recovery and conditioning. It boosts energy endurance, here's a couple of keynotes wrote down, reduces stress, promotes relaxation. It's the only recognized Class 2 medical device of its kind. And it's recognized by Health Canada. So this is a big machine in Europe. They actually use this machine. People are like, but they have a pad system for racehorses. They've been using for 20 years, if I'm correct. It's close to that. And they recover the racehorse in between the races in terms of their muscles. So the way it works, it improves microcirculation by up to 30%. Get more blood to the areas, get more recovery. Now, Health Canada's approved it, so we're going to start seeing it in more therapy centers. It's in therapy centers and hospitals all across Europe already, but Canada's always seems, Western medicine always seems to be a little bit behind on that shit, right? So she's our new sponsor, Beamer, Manitoba, because their Instagram page, Crystal Penner. Look it up, get some info. I bought the machine myself. I use it on my, Nova, so my dog.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So Nova's got hip issues, like a bulldog does.
Yeah.
So if she overworks herself, she can't walk.
Really?
Or her one leg is all limp, and she can't walk on it. And Danielle's like, well, what if we, it promotes blood flow. Why don't we throw Nova on the Beamer? Yeah, I got a sleeping pad to sleep on. I got a pad. So Danielle throws Nova on the Beamer. Next day, she's running full force again.
No shit.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, there's no freaking way.
That's funny.
Jeremy, he's been using it for his diabetes because he has no feeling in his feet from his diabetes. That guy can hoof a door. He has no idea.
Really?
So he's been using it. His blood flow's back. He's got feeling in his feet again. So it's pretty crazy. So yeah, look it up. She's our newest sponsor in the show, and she supports all our shows. They're always volunteering.
Absolutely.
So look up Beamer. You can do some research. It's everywhere. It's online. Look it up.
There you go, Beamer.
Yeah.
Was it at Beamer Manitoba?
Yeah, she just made a new Instagram page. I'll try. You should maybe make it separate. It's Crystal Penner. We'll link it to our podcast. I'll get Denzel to share it.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Beamer Manitoba.
Beamer Manitoba.
Yeah, at Beamer _ Manitoba.
Spell it.
BEMER _ Manitoba.
Spell Manitoba. Don't look at it.
AL. Oh shit. Yeah.
All right. So as we start to wind down here a little bit, we gotta.
I want to touch on the seminar.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say upcoming stuff here. We gotta get out of this fucking room.
Yeah, right. I'm dying here. Nathan Payton seminar. A lot of sign up, but not the sign up. I was hoping, but whatever, man. I'll eat some crow on this one. It is what it is. I'm excited to have them out. So we're only 10 days away.
That's coming right up.
But the nice thing is, I tagged gyms, and I tagged Iron Image. They shared it. I tagged Snap Steinbeck. They shared it right away. It's like, hey man, glad you're bringing something. I don't know if I have any people signed up from there, but they're like, glad you're bringing something in. I tagged a bunch of other gyms. Certain bodybuilding gyms will not share your shit. And they have all the coaches, so you'd think they'd want a nutrition coach, but
they know it all.
Yeah, weird because I've supported their events.
They got it all figured out.
Yeah, supported their events, but
that's true. You did actually. That's worth remembering.
So they won't share my shit. And I'm not trying to make money. I'm just trying to break even and get one of the most knowledgeable nutrition coaches in the friggin' world.
Yeah.
Coming to Manitoba to do a seminar, and he's just excited for it too. He was sharing everything.
Yeah, he has been. It's nice to see that.
Brick House been sharing my shit. I got some guys there, but then Manitoba Heavy, the Highland Games guys shared it, and I had their top thrower messed right away. Hey, I didn't even know he signed up right away.
Tremendous. That's great.
So that was cool. I was excited. So I shout out to the Highland Games.
Shout out to them for
they're trying to grow that sport like we were trying to grow strongman.
Shout out to them for stepping up their social media game a little bit this year. They got a new page. We'll share it on our Strong and Pay social media stuff. I know they have a competition coming up. It's like a week or 2 weeks away.
Well, that's where Cody's been dabbling.
Yes, it's in Deloraine, which is unfortunately a little farther than where I'll be able to go just to pop in on it. But if you're looking for an opportunity to try something new, if you're like a strength sport person who's like, I'm kind of spinning my wheels in powerlifting or strongman or whatever, this is something that's worth checking out. It's fun. It's different. There's a whole different group of people there.
Yep.
There's implements that you'll have never touched, never put your hands on before. It's really, really fun.
I'll give you something to put your hands on.
I bet you won't. So go check them out. I think it's Manitoba Heavy Games on Instagram or something, but we'll post it.
Yeah.
Already coming up very, very quickly, yes, is the Nathan Payton seminar. For anybody who's interested, for about 2 hours after that, depending on what time it finishes, I'm going to work with some people who are doing provincials on the Viking press and the Conan's wheel.
Yeah, it's all set up outside at my gym.
Beautiful. So if you want to come in and try it out, obviously I'm going to be prioritizing my clients, but I will try to lend a hand to everybody who's out there.
Yeah.
And we'll just get some practice. And
well, if Nathan's the seminar got moved to 10 a.m. guys. I put it on the Instagram because his United Airlines screwed his flights, and he's like, he got some flights canceled. He's just struggling. So if he has to take off, I'll stick around, help out anybody with that shit too.
There you go. So we'll have a full day of helping out people who are doing provincials. Please take advantage of this, guys, because the Viking press is not the same as if you have like a Viking press attachment into your gym, or if you have you're doing barbell push press. It's just not the same. It's not.
Remember Nationals?
Yes, I do.
That old guy whining.
I do remember Nationals.
I put the weight on the bar, and these guys are lying with the weight. No.
And it's going to be it's heavy. It's heavyweight in this one. So speaking of heavyweights, on August 3rd we got the Magnus qualifier in Gimli. Invite only that one. So if you're not invited, then you're not doing it. So
and if the weights haven't been posted, they should be, because I'm putting them. Viking press 340.
340 Viking press. Nice big heavy one for the boys.
Expect the deadlift to be over 700 in the hands.
For sure. What up, Jan? Yeah, so that's going to be a really fun show. We're looking forward to that one. Please, guys.
Cliff carry 700 pounds.
I love it.
Could you imagine?
I would love that. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't get it, but no. It would be funny though. If you guys are looking for something to do that day, please come check it out. Please, I say that for your own enjoyment. It's a great competition. It's in a beautiful place. It's the Icelandic Festival.
Last year there was 1,000 people watching.
Yeah. I really want to get. I want them to know that this is something that's worth bringing back and worth doing again, because it's so nice there, guys.
We will have the live stream running.
Yes.
I think internet's a real humdinger there, but we got to figure that out.
We will have to figure out the live stream too, because Thrones will not be in town.
Who's Thrones, anyways?
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah. Lane, come for a ride.
Yeah. So we have that we're looking forward to. That's going to be an awesome competition. Really exciting. August 10th, provincials, Winkler. Registration is closed now. I think that pretty much everybody who could have signed up did sign up, with a couple of very, very few exceptions. If you guys are looking for something to do that day, the Winkler Harvest Fest and Manitoba Strongman will give you something to do. Come hang out and watch it. It'll be really, really fun.
It's a great festival.
It is. There's lots going on there.
Tons of Canucks out there, youngest.
Yeah.
It's going to be phenomenal.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. That's so true. But Winkler's a nice little town. The Winkler Harvest Fest has been the home of Manitoba Strongman for many, many, many years now. Way before I was doing it.
If you're a single dude looking for an old-fashioned lady.
Oh, a very old-fashioned lady.
Who's going to do what my wife does with the cooking, the cleaning, and the taking care.
Yep. That's where you find them. That's the greatest secret of all. Is that this is where you find yourself a nice traditional woman.
Yeah.
And if you want a traditional man who wears suspenders, this is also the place. This is the place to find them.
Jacob's gonna haul those things off or something.
Yeah. Who wears socks and sandals and a pair of suspenders with slacks.
Dude, that's so. My daughters are wearing socks and sandals. It pisses me off.
Oh, I wear the slides and sandals, but these guys are wearing the strap ones.
Yes, but they're called slides. Someone told me my kids, they're slides. You idiot.
This old guy over here, he's not young and cool like me and his kids.
Retards.
We're cool.
Socks and sandals.
We're young and cool, and he's old. So following that, we do have. I'm not sure if I've been on here to mention this or not yet, but we do have a hardline date for Manitoba Grip Sports First Competition being hosted by Strong Manitoba, right here in Iron Age, November 9th. So absolutely no experience or skill level required. I would anticipate that it'll be most people's first time touching the implement for a lot of the people who come and do it. We're going to have Canadian national champion James Jeffers come in and ref it for us, which is going to be awesome. He's also going to kind of run the competition because we don't know how they work. So he's going to walk us through that. we're very, very excited for that one. It's going to be really fun. It's a new avenue of competing. Again, the same thing I said with the heavy game stuff, the Highland games. If you're just like, I feel like I'm kind of spinning my wheels a little bit in strongman, or you just need a little bit of a breather from it, what a great way to still compete and not to train specifically for anything.
Yep.
You just show up and do how you do. We're going to keep it nice and cheap for registration for that one, too, so that's just an easy day out for the whole family to enjoy right here in the west end of Winnipeg. I'll give a little hint, too, that I think 2 weeks afterwards we might be hosting another competition here. With a certain powerlifting organization. So,
like that's 2 weeks after?
I think about that, yeah.
It's my birthday.
Oh, Devin's birthday. That, you know what that means? He has to do the competition.
Yeah, holy shit, yeah.
But
I heard your comments, you cocksucker.
What?
Yeah, Devin has been strong for a couple years already.
I didn't say a couple years. I said a long time.
Freaking slitting my wrists. Down to go. He's just petty. And
did you hear my Iron Man comment for Jeffers?
No, what did you say?
I'll show it to you afterwards. It's pretty good. But we, to spill the beans a little bit, we're looking at potentially having a push-pull competition here with WRPF. So,
hey, man, my pecs, maybe I can do, well, I was stuck at pulling, but maybe I can bench.
You've done a lot of pulling in your day.
I've pulled, yeah. Very short distances.
All right, so
I pull to pulling what the sumo is to conventional.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a real short range of motion. We'll leave it at that for now here. Thanks again for listening in, guys. Nothing specific this weekend.
Deadlift for Dreams.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Let's look up where we're at.
It's been
quite a while.
It hasn't been announced yet, but it should be announced. We just had another white light sponsor from St. Malo. Another 20. Nice. The big. So all our white light sponsors are full now, which is amazing.
Beautiful. Love it.
And I'd emailed it back in April. I actually don't know who got this sponsor. I'm going to take credit for it, but I emailed the business. They never replied to it, but they did sign up. So I don't know if there's someone else working that angle too. If it was, awesome to you. If it was me, sweet to me. I really don't give a shit.
As long as the money's in the
As long as the money's getting it, yeah.
Yep.
The 3 white list sponsors brings us to 7,500 sponsors alone.
Tremendous. So right now, we're at 28% of the goal reached with $17,122.82.
All right.
Amazing.
So we're getting there.
Amazing. Everybody who's listening to this, go donate $20 to somebody who's doing Deadlift for Dreams.
Anybody.
And we will see you guys next week.